Hey guys, I'm Brooke. Welcome to the channel. I am a wife and mom of 3. We are homeschool, one income family. So that's the kind of stuff you're going to hear about from me. I like to share homeschooling stuff. I like to share low income budget type things. Just things that pertain to our family that I think would help you. Today I'm going to be talking about things that I don't do with our homeschooling. Hopefully this will help you if you're trying to decide whether or not you can homeschool. You feel like you can't do it, you don't have enough, you can't do enough. Or maybe you are already homeschooling and feeling like you are not doing enough and can't do enough, and maybe you're thinking about quitting. So I'm going to share things that we have been doing. We have been homeschooling continuously now since 2020. Overall, we've got a couple more years than that because my oldest daughter, I did her pre-K, or kind of a combined pre-K, K-5 in first grade. So she had 2 years, went to traditional school. My middle child went to preschool and then kindergarten, and then 2020 happened while she was in kindergarten and my oldest was in 5th grade. And they came home and we decided we liked it better at home, so we stayed at home and we have been home ever since. I don't know how many years that is collectively, but we've got a couple of years now under our belt, and it's working. So I'm going to share 10 things that we don't do, and it's, like I said, it's working. My kids are learning. I think they're very smart. We test every year. They are testing at or above average on everything. Maybe one little tiny segment of something is just below a level, maybe has been once or twice. But like I say, they're testing at or above level for the majority of everything. So I'm happy with that. And I know they're learning from year to year, so I'm happy with that. So 10 things we don't do, or don't have, or whatever you want to call it. And a lot of this is based on our income and being low income. Some of it is just the way we learn. The first one, and probably a controversial one, is we don't teach. I don't teach. I'm not a teacher. I can teach. I like to, like, this YouTube channel is me teaching you things, but I'm not a history teacher. I don't claim to be qualified to teach a lesson to a classroom at a public school or Christian school or whatever. I don't claim to have the credentials of a teacher. You don't have to have the credentials of a teacher to homeschool your kids. Your kids have to be able to learn. And my kids can learn. Now, I'm not talking about before they can read. That's a totally different thing. You do have to teach your kids to read. But once my kids are past that, like, 2nd, 3rd grade level, and they can read the information, they can learn the information. Yes, we stay on top of it. We check behind them, especially at that 3rd grade, 2nd, 3rd grade level, when they're learning to learn. You have to stay behind them with every subject, every day, every week. But as they get older, I don't teach. We use curriculum that is student-led, I guess is what you call it, and they do the lessons themselves. The curriculum is set up, and you can go back and look at my curriculum flip-throughs, the reveals and all that. The curriculum that we choose is set up so that the student reads the lesson, they look at their schedule, what they're supposed to do for today, they read their lesson, they read the material, and they answer the questions, or they do the activity, or whatever, and that's how it's set up. Okay, sorry, had to stop for a second. I'm pretty sure my train of thought was on the fact that we don't actually teach our kids. They learn themselves. We do have to teach our little ones to read once they get to that reading level and learning how to, get their books out and switch from one subject to another and how to read their schedule. I do the schedule a little bit different than how I do with my, once they get older. You've seen the videos where I have a planner that they use when they're smaller like that, 1st, 2nd grade, 3rd grade even, using those planners is a little bit above them, so I have it set out a little bit different of where they follow their schedule or the way they follow their schedule, and that's for another video. But just saying, I don't sit down and teach. My husband doesn't sit down and teach unless it's something they need help on, then we'll help them with the lesson. Math is a big one that always throws people off. They say they're not good at math and they can't teach math. I like math, but I can't teach math. We use teaching textbooks. teachingtextbooks.com. Look it up. I'll put a link to the website in the description. I'm trying to get an affiliate type thing with them. I'm not sponsored at all, but we do love teaching textbooks. It has worked very well with my kids. It worked to a certain point with my daughter who doesn't do well with math, but we have used it consistently since 2021, I think. We didn't use it that first year back, but we used it after that, and we've used it ever since. My 6th grader is currently using it. So yeah. We don't sit and teach. I'm not a teacher. We don't do co-ops. We did not immediately join a co-op. There are co-ops around here. I have seen it and thought that would be nice. It'd be cool to let the kids, be able to interact with other kids and do the field trips and stuff. but we don't. We have never been a part of an official co-op, and we're fine. It's okay. We do things with our church. Our church has a lot of families that are homeschooled, and we do get-togethers with them. We do field trips. We do different activities together. So my kids are not lacking on the interaction with other kids, and I, like I said, we're good. We're okay. It's okay. If you can't join a co-op, it's okay. If you live somewhere where it's not available, if you don't have the opportunity to be able to drive to meet co-ops, to do get-togethers and things, it's okay. It is okay. We do not buy complete sets of curriculum. I mix and match. I don't go online and buy a $300, $400, $500, $600 set of everything that goes together for a grade level. You can do that. And let me back it up. If you do these things, I'm not downing you. I'm just saying you don't have to. It's okay if you don't. If you can sit and teach your kids every subject, that is great. They can get that. I mean, if that's what you want to do and that works for y'all, that is great. Like, I would do it. If it worked for us, I would do it. I'm nothing against it. If you are a part of a co-op and you do a lot of stuff with the co-op, go for it. I'm not against it whatsoever. I'm just here to let people know that it's not necessary. You don't have to. The full box curriculum, same thing. If you can spend the money on it and it makes you feel more secure with your homeschooling, that makes you feel that your kids are getting everything they need, go for it. I have nothing against it. But we don't do that, and it's okay. My kids still get all of their subjects. They still get everything that they need. We piece things together from different curriculums. I buy stuff off different websites. I buy stuff from the local bookstore. We get stuff from the library, books, readers that they're needing, DVDs they need to watch. I get stuff off of Amazon. I piece it together, and I make it work, and they get everything that they need without going to a certain curriculum and getting every subject, the big box set. But if you can do it, go for it. But if you can't, if you don't have the money to spend on that, I am right there with you, and you don't have to. You can make it work. I've got curriculum flip through videos. You can see where we piece together things. I don't think I did one for this year. It just got crazy, and I may try to do one still. But I have done some flip throughs that you can see, and I've mentioned things of what we're doing for this year, and I'll try to get to that soon. Let's see. I haven't been numbering these things. We are on number 4. We're on number 4. Number 4 is we don't stress about how many hours or days of school we have. I definitely make a calendar, and I've done a video about how I number our days. I try to get us around 180 days, which is the normal North Carolina calendar. But it's not, 180 days is not necessary. Most of our curriculum is based on a 180 day, 36 weeks, 4 9-week semesters. So I try to kind of stick to that just so that we can get most of the curriculum done. But I don't stress about it. If we have sick days, if we have days that we would just want to stop and go do something, if I come home from work early and I just say, all right, stop, I'm not stressing about it. You need to check your laws. You can go to a good place is hslda.org. I'll put a link to that website in the description. And it is a good place to go to check the laws for your state. I always recommend you doing that. Don't take my word for what you can and can't do. Even the curriculum stuff, just check your state law on what curriculum you have to use, how many hours and days. For North Carolina, I believe the wording is 9 calendar months, or a reasonable amount of days in 9 calendar months of the year, I believe is how that's worded. So I stick to that. We actually go more than the 9 months. We usually go like 10 months, and I take off take off most of June, and then we usually start back up in July. Like, we get like half of July, like half days, half of July. So we actually do more, I guess, than what is actually required for North Carolina, but we don't stick to a for sure number of days and hours. If we need to stop, we stop. If we can do extra, we do extra. Number 5. I didn't number this on my list, so I'm like having to look at it and count. All right, number 5, we don't finish everything. When you were in school, did you finish, if you went to a regular school, do you think that your teacher went through every page from beginning to end and covered everything? No, they skipped stuff. They skipped entire chapters sometimes, and we do too. I try to look ahead. I try to look at like the halfway point of the year and see where my kids are at, and if they are way far behind, I may go and look at the last half of that curriculum of that book and see what we can skip on, what's not going to hurt. If there's a continuity thing to where they can't skip anything, then I may have them skip like certain activities or certain reading. Some of the stuff that's a little just extra fluff that's in there, I may cut out just so they can kind of condense it a little bit to try to get it done by our stopping point, which is usually, I try to end in May. Like at the end of May, I try to let that be our stopping point so that they can have the entire month of June off. But yeah, we don't finish it all. It's okay. We've gotten by with it. My kids are still learning. I think they're grasping everything they need to grasp. Now, I do say on the math teaching textbooks, you can't really get by with that too much. They kind of need to learn from one lesson to another to go from one to the next. But everything else, if we skip stuff, it's not the worst thing in the world. Number 6, we don't follow the public school calendar. I do look at the calendar, but it's mostly so that we can do opposite days. If there's something we're wanting to do, like field trip kind of thing somewhere, I will look to see when the schools around here are in school versus out of school, and we try to do our activities on the days that they are in school so that we don't run into, depending on the activity, so that we don't run into a big crowd. Or like if it's it depends on the activity. Like if I'm expecting a bunch of homeschool groups, then maybe I'll look for a day that kids are off. It wouldn't be school groups crowding wherever it is we're trying to go. So I do keep up with the calendar to look for things like that, but I don't stick us with the calendar because homeschoolers in North Carolina do not have to stick to that North Carolina public school calendar. So I don't. Number 7, we don't have a schoolroom. We do not have a designated schoolroom. I did when we first started because I thought maybe it would help the transition from a classroom to a schoolroom here at home, and we did have an extra bedroom to do that with. Again, I'm not downing you if you can do it. If you've got the pretty aesthetic schoolroom with the pretty desks and everybody's got their laptops that they use and their own desk is decorated and you've got all the craft supplies, that would be great. I would love that. Like if we had another room, I would do it. I don't know that my girls would use it because they like to be in their own space. My oldest daughter does her school at her desk and my youngest daughter does her school on her bed beside her desk. So, whatever works for you. But if you don't have a homeschool room, it's okay. You can do school at the kitchen table, on the couch, on the floor, in their bedrooms, in the car, in the camper, or maybe you're traveling or something. Maybe you have to do a lot of traveling for whatever reason. You're going to somebody else's house during the day. You're going and sitting with somebody and you got to take your kids with you. You can do school on the go. You are not rooted to any one place, especially if you've got grab and go curriculum like I use. My kids will pack up and they'll go with me to work usually once a week or every other week. My girls will go with me. They take their school with them. So we don't have a homeschool room. We just don't right now, and that's okay, and they get their school done, and it works. Number 8, we don't do morning family time. If you're looking up homeschool stuff, you'll see a lot of stuff about morning baskets or family reading. We don't do that. My kids do their own thing. They have their own schedule that they like to keep. They have their own routine for their subjects that they like to do every day, and we don't do anything as a group. My youngest is starting to do some preschool work. I did a video about the low budget, preschool curriculum that I'm using, and we're doing time with him, but like 20-30 minutes max. Either me or my husband are doing something with him of structured learning time. Otherwise, he's just, learning on the go. But no, we don't do a group time. We did when we first transitioned from school to the homeschooling thing because I thought it would, like I said, make the transition easier. But no, we don't do that anymore. We don't do group time. It does probably make a difference that my kids are right now 15 and 11 and 4. So it would be different if they were like 12, 11, and 9 or something like that. If you've got them stair-stepped closer together in ages and you can get stuff done quicker, I would suggest doing some family time. If you've got a curriculum that 2 or 3 of your kids are sharing and you can get some reading done all together, that'd be great. But we don't do that. We don't do morning basket time. We don't do read aloud time. They do their own thing. They get their own stuff done by themselves. And if they need help, they come get help. But yeah, no group time, no family time, and it works. Number 9, we don't do extracurriculars. Not like we don't do like where they have to do a sport and they have to do something musical or whatever. We don't have the money for it, and so we don't push it. I would like to put my son in t-ball. I think he would be good in t-ball. We are going to wait another year. I may be doing a video about this, but we're 2026. We're kind of doing some stuff with our finances, and we are doing pretty much like a low buy year. I wouldn't call it a no buy year, but I think it's going to be a low buy year. So I don't know that we're going to put the money into t-ball right now, but I think he would be good at it. So maybe next year, maybe 2027 or whenever the next sign up is, we'll try that. But yeah, my girls have done stuff. We've done horseback riding. We've done, what do we do? Gymnastics. Both my girls did gymnastics when they were younger. We have yet to put my son in any kind of organized thing, but like I said, I think he'd be good at t-ball. But I'm not pushing that. If they really want to, which is how that stuff has come up. I mean, my oldest daughter, I put her in gymnastics just out of thinking like, well, I have to have her in something. But my youngest daughter, middle kid, she wanted to do gymnastics, so we let her do it. When my son, if he speaks up and something catches his attention and he wants to do something, then we'll look into that. But yeah, we don't push that where it's like, well, they have to do some sort of organized activity. My kids get a lot of extracurricular stuff at our church with things going on all the time. So that's enough for us. We don't do the mandatory extracurricular sports and activities, and they're okay. They're functioning kids and they're fine. I think I said that was number 9. So number 10, this kind of goes along with everything else I've said, but we don't follow a strict schedule. So if you're looking at homeschooling or you're already homeschooling and you think it's just a mess, if your kids are getting from point A to point B during the day, they're getting up and they're reading their stuff, or you're teaching their stuff and they're answering questions and they're getting it done, but you think it's just crazy and chaotic, or maybe you're having to do it at night. You're getting some stuff done in the morning, some stuff done at night, and you're having to take a break during the day, and that's just not normal. Or maybe you're homeschooling during the summer and taking off in January and February. If it's okay with your state laws, go for it. You can follow your own schedule as long as, like I say, the laws allow. And I think even where it's strict on, schedules or on schedules and times and things, I still think you can allot your own schedule. You don't have to be 7:30 to 3:30. If you can get your school, if your kids can get their school done in 2 hours or 3 hours, there's no harm in that. I mean, if you just have to have some kind of structured thing for them to do, then yeah, make them, spread it out, give them things to do, to keep them occupied. But don't think that you have to do school from a certain time in the morning to a certain time in the afternoon just because that's what they do at public school. Homeschooling is not school at home. It is a totally different thing. So if you're currently doing this and you just think that it's, you're not doing it right, you're not doing it normal, as long as they're getting point A to point B and they're learning something in between there, you're doing good. If you are thinking about homeschooling and you have a crazy schedule, maybe you don't work the same time, you do different shifts, or maybe you work a weird shift and you would have to homeschool after supper. You can make it work. Just, maybe think of all the different scenarios of how you could do it. As long as you can get the time in, or maybe you can get some help to get the time in to get the schooling done. Schooling does not have to be 8 hours a day. It does not have to be from 7:30 to 2:30 or even close to that. As long as they're getting it done, it's fine. You don't have to stick to any kind of perfect schedule or, school schedule or anything like that, as long as it's getting done. And it's according to the laws that your state requires. So that was it. That's 10 things we don't do. So my kids are happy with the homeschooling situation we have going on. They're learning. Like I said, we do the testing every year. We are following the North Carolina laws, and it's working. So I think you can make it work for you as long as you can stick to that point A to point B and get the learning done. You just do it any which way you can. All right, that's all I got for you today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.